Communicating Europe's message has never been more challenging. Talking to people who aren't interested in what you have to say is a fruitless exercise, so Europe must constantly adapt its message to its audience, and crucially, listen to what people want to know. Some even argue that Europe must redefine its sense of purpose. That's why more than 700 communication professionals from all over Europe gathered in Brussels for the second edition of EuroPCom. This two-day conference tried to analyse and reshape the way in which Europe reaches its 500 million citizens. The Lisbon Treaty created new competencies and new responsibilities. It is our responsibility to find new ways to communicate about Europe, through a multi-level approach that brings together the European institutions, member states, regions and cities. Constructive criticism, theoretical discussions, concrete cases and networking opportunities were all high on the agenda. One of the themes was how to brand a city, a region or even the EU. Some dare to question if this kind of brand can be manufactured, while others believe it can only come as a natural extension of constantly doing things right.
To me, Europe is definitely a brand. The perception of this brand is still positive inside the EU, but even more outside of the EU.
Nonetheless, a long-term vision is indispensable.
Let us not forget that Europe and the European Union is a long-term project. And what we see, what we listen to, is short-termism. And I think that Europe has certainly more than 50 years to live in the future.
No level of administration can ignore the impact of social media, so adapting the message to the medium has never been so important.
For example, if you do have the right search tools, if you track very clearly exactly who's talking about what, you can enter into all of those small conversations. If it's 50, 100 people and they care about one particular type of recycling policy or one aspect of workers' rights, and you can reach those individuals in a way you never could before.
As Reijo Kemppainen points out, customizing Europe's message to its 500 million citizens might be one of the biggest challenges currently facing Europe's communication officers.
Who from Brussels can honestly say they are effectively communicating in 27 countries, in 23 languages to 500 million people? When was the last time you saw a communication campaign that effectively, in a proven manner, reached out to all of them? I'd like to see that report.
Many conclusions can be drawn from the 2011 EuroPCom workshops. And Europe's communication professionals went home with useful insights and concrete guidelines on how to improve their communication strategy. But as Simon Anholt explained, there is no perfect strategy, at least not without that little bit of magic.
It needs to do policy that is responsible, as it is today, carefully planned, as it is today, based on some kind of reasonable consensus, as it is today, but with the added ingredient that what it does is simply extraordinary and captures the imagination of ordinary people in Europe and around the world, so that they go to bed at night saying, I'm glad that Europe exists.